Alright, thank you for checking this one out. I'm almost at the end of another Rogue Trader playthrough finally now after we got these updates with Lex Imperialis and so on. And I played an Arbitrator class going into Unsanctioned Psyker this time. Everything scales off of everything in this build through both agility in terms of alacrity and toughness. And I'd like to share this build and basically do an update to that Soldier Master Tactician guide now that new classes and items out. The big things now is that we have rock saws, which are quite insane. So what I wanted to make is a soldier build using rock saws going into Master Tactician here. So I'll show the build, go through stages of it. You can see that in the description. Then I'll show a fight from later in the game where I boosted enemy health pool by like 50 times in Toy Box, but still one-rounded it basically with this build. So it's a lot of fun to play, and you'll see what I mean by it. So towards endgame, this is my character loadout, as you see in the items I use. It is Soldier, Subductor, Arbiter, going into Master Tactician, and finally Exemplar with Unsanctioned Psyker to unlock Psy powers and Pyromancy. The items we use are the Zartium Mask, things that increase Psy ratings, Commissar Flak Breastplate because it'll raise our weapon skill and ballistic skill even more, and with this Halo device, which is a great item if you want to use it. Basically it means that this breastplate scales not off intelligence but off of agility. So we conserve a lot of stats in this build this way by just focusing on agility and toughness, and then everything else will be raised: strength, ballistic skill, and weapon skill as a result of these two items. Then we have Bone Shatterer and what I think is the best shield in the offhand. The Bone Shatterer is nice to, as you see, to increase damage by 33% for 2 rounds. And this one is good because it allows us to block and counterattack should we want, but like enemies don't live long enough honestly for us to block and counterattack, but it still works with an Arbitrator talent that you get. And then the best rock saw in the game, which is here, and this is what we mainly attack with. And then Hand of Offense to increase damage on it off of Psy rating, and Rate of Fire items like these Compensator Gloves and Elite Backpack, and Inertia Boots for movement. That's what we have here. Other interesting things, if you're Heretical, Crimson Hazes, and some grenades that can force enemies to fail willpower saves and make us do attacks of opportunities as well. And some grenades like these Tears of Repentance, which you get from a colony project. And if you can use them with Grenadier, they can also provoke attacks of opportunities for you as an Arbiter. Okay, so character creation. For our Homeworld, there's actually, I would say I played HIVE because it is the best for the build because of weapon personalization eventually. But other than HIVE, if you don't want to go HIVE for some reason, you can go Penal World if you have the mod for it, because No Better is good for scaling critical damage from Resolve. Yeah, I would really consider either HIVE World to get extra scaling attacks on the rock saws and burst weapons with weapon personalization, or Penal World for more crit. Forge World for locomotion system. But yeah, like we can go HIVE World, I would recommend, or Penal World. Yeah, and then here the origin is a bit more tricky for the build, but in the end I went Arbitrator Subductor. I'll show in a second. Before I go there, you can of course try Sanctioned Psyker, or Ministerium Priest would be the other ways, but we go Arbiter and Subductor. The reason we go Subductor is because early on with the shield, we get more mobility that way, and it can scale critical percentage chance through coercion, and that leads to over crits with certain talents later down the line, so it's quite useful. And lastly, because we want to be soldier, we want native weapon skill training, so that's very good for us. Like this combination of Hive World plus Subductor gives the best starting stats anyways. Something like that, doesn't matter. So then we go soldier, make sure to start with 40, 40, 40, 40. And then the last point where you put is up to you. The key characteristics that the build needs are agility and toughness, and some weapon skill and ballistic skill. First ballistic skill, later weapon skill down the line. So I can start agility 45 or toughness 45, it's up to you. We'll get a lot of benefits from using a shield in one hand and a gun in the other. The Subductor gives a lot of bonuses to shield use, including better shield bashes, and it benefits a lot also from coercion. So moving on to the first archetype, which is soldier. Yes, this is your final first archetype in the build, but if you want to metagame it a bit as a Subductor, I would recommend starting as a warrior, just because you will get a free shield in the tutorial area, and having a shield in the offhand while you use a gun in the one hand and some other weapons in the other slot will give you a lot of benefits as a Subductor. First we take Medicine just to use medkits, but then we focus on coercion and demolition, and in a fringe case I'll show in a second in tech use if you really want. Then the first talents you take from soldiers are the essential talents you need for your damage endgame with the rock saws. Because once you hit Exemplar, you won't be taking soldier talents anymore, really, you'll be taking Psyker talents. But here in soldiers, what we take is unpredictable. It'll scale your crit chance with alacrity, it's very good with your agility. Then we pump agility for more dodge. We take Swift Slaughter. We take Concentrated Fire here in the final build, although while you're progressing throughout the game, Rapid Fire could be more useful for you, but in the final build you'll be using Concentrated Fire more, and you won't really have any benefits given the items you use from Rapid Fire anymore. So this is better for the end. This is definitely better for the end. So after agility, we raise ballistics here. We take shield mastery here. Shield mastery because so you can have a gun and a shield in one hand and like a two-handed weapon in the other. That is quite important for you early game, and we take it as soon as possible. Then fired up, it'll scale your crit damage. It's one of the better soldier damage talents. Again, raising coercion here. For the firearms mastery upgrade, we're basically interested in firearms mastery 2 and 3. It doesn't matter which order you take, unless you took rapid fire here and unfaltering fire here. Then you go for the extra rate of fire one here. Now here, this talent is sort of free. There's several options I want to discuss. I think Tenderize is the best one to take for the end game, but while you're playing through the game, Demolition Expert will be more useful, as well as Point Blank. In the end, you won't need either Point Blank and Demolition Engineer only sometimes. And Tenderize is the most consistent of the three, so I kept it here. But throughout the game, as you're playing, Demolition Engineer would probably be better here. Then, so agility, ballistic skill. Here, for this talent, in the end, Pistol Whip is the best one. it's the one that still does something for the build. As you're playing through the game, dash would certainly be more useful. So concentrated fire dash, or concentrated fire, dash or rapid fire dash would be better here as you're playing throughout the game, just because it's more mobility. But once you get those boots, I think at the end of chapter 1, it kind of doesn't matter because of inertia boots. Yeah, start concentrating on weapon skills so we can hit with shields. And that'll be important for you. And this is the nice thing about Subductor, is that you don't have to take heuristic training weapon skill to immediately start leveling up weapon skill. To cover up your health issues, especially early, because we're raising, as you see, agility, ballistic skill, and weapon skill, and not toughness, we take Arbitra's physical training to raise our toughness that way. And also we take armor piercing here, and it will not die right here at the end. Alacrity is a great soldier talent, because it will raise your agility and scale a bunch of things on this build eventually. It's kind of a dead talent at first as you look at it, but eventually it's one of your most important talents, and I still slot it in and always keep it. If you go for rapid fire here and unfaltering fire here, you will get more use out of it, and then it will not die. You'll have a ton of HP this way by the end of chapter 1, and will be quite tanky actually, just because of your HP pool. Then demolition, as I said, coercion and demolition, and the last upgrade. So yeah, that covers tier 1, I think. In terms of tier 2 archetypes, so the final build I have is in Master Tactician as the tier 2 archetype, but as you're leveling throughout tier 2 and moving into Exemplar, I have to say that playing as Arch Militant would be much easier for the action economy. Multiple attacks with different weapon types such as shields and shotguns for you, since you're basically using a faux hammer, a shotgun, and a shield in the offhand. But let's look at Master Tactician and see what it does for us. So basically, first thing I took here is Inspire, and then Undisputed Advantage. Undisputed Advantage we will need on the build as we're playing it, just because we don't have room to up our perception that much, or at all, ideally. That's why, since it ignores cover and dodge, it will help you a lot to hit stuff with it. Then we go agility, and weapon personalization, which is that Homeworld talent, which will work with any type of burst rifles. If you have took rapid fire in tier 1, it'll scale with that. It also scales with rock saws eventually, and this build in the end will use rock saws and taking advantage of weapon personalization. Then I took Finish the Job here. It's just an extra attack, but it also scales. What happens with Finish the Job is that I didn't notice it on rifles, because rifles have mostly a single attack and a burst attack. But since rock saws only have a burst attack, basically, and no single attack, when you use Finish the Job with a rock saw, it'll apply all the hits from the rock saw. So we do take Finish the Job on this particular Master Tactician build. And we have Joint Offensive, which is a very important talent eventually, because you want to build those tactical advantage stacks, and every hit of a weapon gives you an extra one, so that's a no-brainer. Looking at it otherwise, I still have Lawful Intervention here, although in the kind of final build this is less useful, but until you do, being able to use attacks of opportunities with a gun is useful as you're playing throughout, but later on this can be switched to something else, and you can, as I said, check in the description for the final build. that I show here. But until then, Lawful Intervention is definitely a good talent to take. We have some toughness, we do raise it a bit. Tech use, if you want to go for that modded skill, eventually that I'll show, but otherwise keep focusing on coercion and demolition. We raise, beyond agility, we raise ballistic skills and weapon skill here. And then we have Grenadier to use grenades, because there are certain grenades that you can start to craft which are quite useful, called Tears of Repentance from a project colony in Janus. As you see on a failed willpower test, disturbed. So basically with these grenades and Lawful Intervention, you can get extra attacks of opportunities in per round. It's quite good. Then we have Fervor here to reset Inspire and build more stacks. I debated between Finish the Job and Linchpin, but in the end I felt I didn't need Linchpin on this build, and Inspire is more useful. And by the way, by the end you don't need Undisputed Advantage. I would say it's a filler talent, and in the end you should respect to just to the upgrade of Inspire, Unwavering Motivation. So yeah. Then Firestorm, we take 2 upgrades here. We take the upgrade to be able to use it multiple times in a combat, once per round, and that it will work with burst weapons. And burst weapons include ranged and melee burst weapons, so both rifles that do burst attacks and rock saws, it will affect those as well. Toughness training, as I said, we do need to raise toughness on this build eventually for peak condition, but we're getting to it. And then ballistics, tech use, Grenadier for those grenades I showed, Fervor, public sentencing. So yeah, so basically with this, the grenades and public sentencing and Lawful Intervention, you can attack of opportunity with your AoE gun. It's quite nice. And you can force it on your turn, which is more important. Weapon skill, tech use, stacking the deck, one of the more important damage talents from Master Tactician, and toughness and characteristic weapon skill. So yeah, that's Master Tactician for you. As I said, I think some of these talents I show here I wanted to show them here specifically if you choose to play this build throughout the game instead of Arch Militant. This way it'll be more useful, but in the final version I would definitely swap some of these talents out for things that are more impactful on the build when it's complete, when you have all your levels basically. And here are the talents, how I have them. When you have good rock saws and you're in mid-exemplar and can use orchestrate fire and so on. Basically, like the one I just showed you was while you're leveling, and this one is when you are in exemplar, this is how it would look like. So still Inspire, but instead of Undisputed Advantage, you have Unwavering Motivation. Still agility, joint offensive, finish the job here, stacking the deck, ballistics, either base skill tech use here for the special talent that comes from a mod that'll be an exemplar in a second, or Grenadier here, and then weapon skill, weapon personalization, fervor, heroic inspiration, weapon skill, tech use, training ballistic skill, toughness, training weapon skill, that's all you care about really, agility, weapon skill, ballistic skill, and toughness, and the Firestorm upgrade. And finally in Exemplar, this is where we unlock our Psy powers, do Pyromancy for the damage boosts and to be burning while using rock saws, as well as Sanctic powers, just to get a few talents from the Sanctic school, although the Sanctic one is more optional. But anyways, Pyromancy, Psyker Minoris, keep raising coercion, demolition, and tech. And then Majoris. So this is where a lot of Psyker talents will go, because this is an unsanctioned Psyker. Then weapon skill, because we'll need it for the rock saws now. We have to up it even more, although we were working on it as we were leveling. Terminus, orchestrate flames, and coercion, as I said, raising coercion. Body of flames here. Peak condition. We'll have a lot of toughness with the shield and some talents, and this will raise our strength. And yeah, actually that's good. Agility, sparks of greater flames, so that the dots on the fire will crit. Sanctic powers here. As I'm leveling this, generally, like until you're around here, like at the end, you can skip Sanctic powers, I would say, and take Inflame here where Sanctic powers is instead. Eventually the Sanctic powers are great talents for us, but you might find it more enjoyable to play with Inflame, having Inflame earlier. Agility, and finally Psyker Extreme is the last Psyker upgrade. And then Psalm of Heroes is one of these things from Sanctic powers that we really want on this build to raise Psy rating on an unsanctioned Psyker. And Tech use, Toughest Steel to raise HP and Strength. AP increase here, Relentless Blaze, Tech use, Melting Armor, Hidden Advantage. Hidden Advantage is one of the last things we really want from Master Tactician, just because it is it's pretty good at just percentage-wise giving flat damage and increase to Inspire and Pressed Advantage in a lot of fights. It's kind of optional, but it is neat. Toughness, because we have peak condition. Tech use and vital points. Yeah, vital points. Hymns of Hatred, one of the other things we really want from Sanctioned School, because our crit percentage here by endgame will be at around 100%, if not over, and we will over crit, and this will just again scale even more damage with every hit from the rock saw. Then Edge of Dawn, kind of optional, but also neat flat damage increase. Demolition, Pillar of Law, and this is the modded talent. Like, you might not have it in your game if you're playing without mods. Just replace it with one of the Arbitrator talents. I recommend to do like Attack of Opportunities or Shield Bash, but it's another plus 12 strength. The thing is, you have to take it after you take all the tech use upgrades you can to get the plus 12 strength boost. Inflame and ballistic skill, because ballistic skill will scale your rate of fire still with the rock saw, and but you still need some weapon skill to hit, unless you take Undisputed Advantage, which is you can always do on a Master Tactician in a pinch. And then Degraded Defense, and my last thing was Public Sentences, but this one's more free for you to decide what you want to do here. Yeah, and as I said, like the important things are like from the Exemplar talents is unlocking Psyker powers, getting peak condition to fix your strength through your toughness. And with the items we use, this is great because toughness is both your willpower for your spell casting, and everything scales off of everything in this build through both agility in terms of alacrity and toughness. It's amazingly efficient in that way. Toughest Steel will raise the wounds even more, so it means even more strength. And in terms of the damage things, the best damage things are vital points. And lastly, either the Degraded Defense or Extermination.
Awake. losing attempt at defiance.
Unto the devout shall the sacrifice be gifted.
Activate calculate fury algorithm. Running binaric override. The old sire knows all, comprehends all. The scriptural prognosis is favorable.
If I may. Isn't this a job for the serfs?
I won't object to it.
Don't frighten me.
Let's see to it. But of course, Lord Captain. For the throne's glory. I'm counting on you. Naturally. Let's see to it. Your turn.
Emperor, give me strength. Me? If you insist, Lord Captain. Isn't this a job for the serfs? If I may? Isn't this a job for the serfs? Me, if you insist, Lord Captain.
Shattered foes in my wake. What if?
In the name of House Orselio, I shall prevail. Isn't this a job for the serfs? I'm not accustomed to being ordered around.
Let's see. A genius at work. A new Let's see if you War is my muse. The storm approaches. Through the smoke and gunfire! You are not for demise! Let's see. Shattered foes in my wake. Another stroke! Step by step I lead. The storm approaches. What? Predictable count.
The truth will not falter.
Close ranks!
Me? If you insist, Lord Captain. If I may. I am a navigator, not a servitor. Me? If you insist, Lord Captain. Isn't this a job for the serfs? Me? If you insist, Lord Captain. I am a navigator, not a servitor.
War is my muse. Let's see. A wicked thought. Let's see. A genius at work. Schemes within schemes within schemes. Let's see. A wicked thought. A genius at work. Schemes within schemes. You are not compromised! A new note get this fortune melody. Oh, a wicked Let's see. You have a predictable downfall.
I could die with grace, at least.